Welcome, sentient beings from all known universes and beyond. It's time to activate your cranial downlinks and prepare to receive a raft of discussion on a cosmic ocean of science fiction and fantasy topics, interviews with local area genre devotees, and insightful prognostication by our soothsayers of science fiction, our forecasters of fantasy, and any other beings that happen to get caught in our gravity well. This is the Galactic Driftwood Podcast.
Hello again, and welcome to this episode of the Galactic Driftwood Podcast. I'm Bill.
I'm Charles.
Still muted. And I'm Chris.
And Linda, you're muted. And Linda's Linda. And unfortunately, Seth can't.
Oh, there's that noise again.
There's that noise
Is that
again.
me?
Let me see. No, that's Linda. She must have a fan going. Okay. I've got Linda muted. All right, so we'll proceed here. So we've got a fun episode, I think, to talk about. We're going to start off a little bit talking about a D&D campaign that I started running a couple of weeks ago and how that's going. And then we're going to delve into something, a little bit darker for role-playing, I think. So it'll be kind of fun, I think, when we get to that. So first, we will start off here. I'm going to show a quick little 45-second video of the game room I set up. So I've never been a DM before. Started running a campaign for the first time ever. And so it's kind of a combination of digital and miniature action. So let me just show this game room. So we've got in the center there a large screen TV that's showing some digital 3D content that's coming from Dynamic Dungeons, a company called Dynamic Dungeons. The guy creates a bunch of different virtually rendered maps. And so we're using our miniatures, moving our miniatures on those maps, and I take it you guys could hear me during the video playing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we move our miniatures on that map, and then we're using a product called Fantasy Grounds to actually handle the mechanics of gameplay for us. So, combat, when you get in combat and you're doing the dice rolls and all that sort of stuff, that is all done in Fantasy Grounds. And so it makes it a little bit easier because you don't have to do your own rolls and add up your own numbers and, gameplay, especially combat slows down so much when you're trying to add up your hits and your damages and considering condition effects and all that kind of stuff. So it helps to speed up gameplay by doing it digitally. And then the three-dimensional overhead view maps that are being created really sort of helps it be more immersive and helps add to the experience, I think. I mean, what do you think, Chris, in our first game?
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it because the maps have, flickering lights and all that kind of stuff. If there's rivers, you can see the water moving. Helps you kind of get immersed. You kind of know exactly what the landscape is that you're working with. So you can still kind of visualize a little bit more where you're at, what the terrain you're kind of working with. So I think it's pretty awesome what you've managed to put together there.
Yeah,
so,
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and the miniatures work real well. We can put them up on the screen and kind of move them around as need be. It's pretty cool. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I basically there's a book I found of on Amazon called Random Encounters, designed for D&D, and basically went through there and picked an encounter that we're going to be getting into. Getting to that encounter is taking a little bit because I just didn't want to start it out the usual way a lot of them start, where, okay, you're all sitting in a tavern, and suddenly some dark guy comes in and has some mission he wants to send you on, and needs your help with something. I thought I'd kind of throw that out the window and start with scratch. And so basically, there's 5 players in the game, and I brought you guys all into town, and there's 3 major tavern/inns in the town, and you're all split amongst those. And they're all kind of unique, have unique characters and characteristics, and everybody in their tavern is kind of having a unique experience their first night. They're basically come into the town. They're coming in. There's this event going on that I created the idea for, called Jostle Fest. The one-off campaign that they're going to be doing. They're going to be trying to help this Jocelyn the Oathbreaker, but she died about 100 years ago, and at least in my part of the story. And so she's celebrated for having saved the state of Termish from this horrible evil. And so every year on this anniversary, they have these games, these competitive games in the capital called Jostle Fest, and anybody that wants to make a name for themselves, they come into the capital city and they register for and play in these games. And maybe it's wizarding competitions, or fighting duels, or jousting, or dinosaur riding, or it could be any of a number of things. And my crew has come into this town of Regalia that's about a 4 days ride from the capital. And they believe that the next day they're getting on a carriage, and this carriage is going to take them to Allegan, where they can compete in these games. And they have tickets for the games, either to watch or to enter as competitors. And there's a company that's handled all their transportation for them. They've got them rooms at the Special Champions Club, big resort in Allegan, where they're going to be staying, pampered to the nth degree. But they're going to find out everything is not quite as they imagined, especially this first night when they got there. And now they all checked in. They got dinner in the tavern. They all checked into their rooms, and some of them fell asleep and started having nightmares, and 2 of them woke up in a completely different place. The other 3, as they entered their rooms, there was a huge flash of lightning, and then suddenly they're either meeting with their god or with a demon lord, who's going to be giving them instructions of some sort. So when we rejoin the game this coming Wednesday, they're going to find out exactly what all is going on there. And there will be a few other things going on. I know, Chris, for your character, Eos, he's been having, as part of the story, you've been having some, what you believe are daymares. You have these visions that suddenly come to you, and you'll be finding out that these are actually visions of the future. They're not just merely daymares that plague you. They're actually stuff you're seeing that's coming down the road. So
Right.
So that'll be interesting, because the rest of the characters don't know that yet. And then Barry, he's got a character he plays that's a monster hunter, and his mother gave him a blade, which he's pretty fond of. And he's going to find out that that's a special type of elven blade, a moon blade, and he's going to find out it's got some special properties. So, but he has to go through a little bit of a ceremony at the place that you guys are at in order for him to attach to that blade, for it to accept him as its new owner. So kind of some fun stuff, I think, that'll happen this coming Wednesday. And then basically you guys will get on the carriage and start the ride to Allegan, and then that's where the fun kicks in. So, or the more fun, I guess, if you like, like battles and things like that. So that should be kind of fun. So we're looking for that. I look forward to that. But for those of you that D&D maybe doesn't have enough monsters and death and destruction and carnage, or Chris, as you were saying, for those
Right. For those that maybe, are looking for other alternatives to D&D, maybe Wizards of the Coast has wronged you lately with some OGL changes. There's
Right?
another option apparently. What's it called?
Right. And so let me just pop this up. So Mörk Borg is a game that I started last night. We had our session 0 last night. My friend Benito Garcia is DMing this game, and essentially, like it says there, it really is a pitch black apocalyptic fantasy, full of necromancers, lost souls, and backstabbing wickheads. I haven't met. I don't know what the wickheads are yet, and I'm kind of afraid to find out. But I'm going to share a little something here. So let me pull this up. So I'm going to share some of the characters. So when you play this game, like in D&D, you have different characters. You have, wizards and sorcerers and fighters and bards and clerics and monks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you can be, an evil character, a good character, chaotic, whatever. Well, all of the characters in Mörk Borg are disgusting in one form or another. They're all bad. And essentially, Mörk Borg, the environment of Mörk Borg, the world is an apocalyptic hellscape where there's no sun ever gets through the clouds. And you can't really trust anybody or anything. And so I'll bring up some of these characters here and read through them. Let me pop this up. Okay, now let's see. There we go. Let me see if I can share that now. All right. Present. Share screen. And there we go. Okay, so this is one of the characters you can play, a fanged deserter. And so this one says, I'm going to have to move a little bit here so I can read it better. You have 30 or so friends who never let you down. They are your teeth. Okay. Disloyal, deranged, or simply uncontrollable. Any group that didn't boot you out, you left anyway. But your parliament of teeth, those have stayed with you. Enormous, protruding, thick and sharp have always been your allies. And so this guy, he's got all kinds of abilities. He's built like a bull. I love the part where it says, let's see, something about his intelligence is that there are like magic scrolls in the game that you can get, and this guy's so stupid that if he gets a magic scroll, he either eats it or uses it as toilet paper. All right, so now let's see. Let me go to the next one. Let's see if I can pull this up anymore. All right, so this one, a gutter-born scum, an ill star smiled upon your birth. Poverty, crime, bad parenting didn't help either. In your community, an honest day's work was never an option. Not that you ever tried. What are you? Sorry, it's a real small font for me to try to see here. What are you? Some kind of mug? A razor blade and a moonless night are worth a week of chump's work. So I will just kind of scroll here. I'm not going to read them all. There's Esoteric Hermit. Let's see that. Am I going the right way? Yeah, Fanged Deserter. Oh, hold on. I got to go out to go back. So.
Oh, the next post. Yep.
Yep. So Heretical Priest is another option. Cult Herb Master. So when you pick a character for this game, you always pick two. Because your character essentially is going to die. So You want to have a backup so you don't get caught mid-game with nothing to do. So Occult Herb Master is my backup. Wretched Royalty, Heretical Priest. Okay, now I got to go back to the next post. So
these are pretty morbid.
Yeah, they're pretty morbid. They're pretty.
I like it.
This one was so Seth and another friend of ours, Tony. They both wanted to play the Bone Slave, and because he's says, "Prisoner of flesh no more, you roam the gods' forsaken realms in your true skeletal form. No proof remains of what blasphemous powers granted you this freedom, but a faint voice echoing within your empty skull, growing louder and louder by the day." So, you have these hideous powers like dark marrow, rigor mortis. You have a bone to pick. So it's funny. Our friend Tony actually got this guy last night. Ended up with Bone Slave, and his weapon is a femur that he stole from another corpse. Cursed Skinwalker. So Jenna is playing the Cursed Skinwalker.
Of course she is.
Yeah. So in this case, she ended up with that, and she's trapped in this body with another soul. Her and another person apparently died. Their souls were somehow kept on Earth and put into the same body, and so they're constantly fighting one another. But she has the ability to change shape, and you have to roll for that. And so she, when she changes shape, she becomes a bear from Bergen Crypt, hulking and massive. It's got a thick hide, so anything attacking it, you subtract 1d4 from whatever damage it does. And her claws and bite deal d8 worth of damage. So she's looking forward to getting in there and doing a little biting. It does take her one round to change into her bear shape. But yeah, that's kind of a hideous one. Dead God's Prophet. Fugitive Knight. This guy's kind of a chicken shit coward. He basically snuck up and slit the throat of a real knight and stole his armor. And this is the one that I ended up with, the Lustful Inquisitor. And this one's really disgusting, which I love. A former member of the Inquisition and resident of the two-headed basilisks in Galgenbeck, you have perfected the art of interrogation. However, your renown for breaking bodies has unfortunately not swayed your peers to elect you into a higher position among them. Years of mutilation upon yourself and others has made you deviant. All the tongues pried out, the chest cavities laid spread eagle, and flayed genitals, including possibly your own, has you abandoning your private chamber in Galgenbeck in search of the audience you desire, especially a screaming one.
Jesus.
That's my character. Isn't that guy nice? And my weapon is a beheading axe, and I torture people with a shame mask that has like spikes on the inside. This is another one that I would have been one of my ones to play, and I would have liked to have this as a backup. This guy's kind of like weird. He's got a bunch of eyeballs, and he can pull out eyes and leave them places to spy on people. This one, I'm not sure what that one is. I haven't read the whole thing. Sacrilegious Songbird. One of the guys got this one. Mike, he's playing Lord of the Flies, and essentially he's just a skin sack that is animated by 450 flies on the inside. And yeah, so, as you look at him, his skin ripples because the flies are underneath, forming the face of the skin, his face and everything. And he's pretty disgusting. So anyway, last night was just session 0. Let me stop sharing this here. Last night was session 0. And so we built our characters, and basically you roll for all your deviances and your afflictions. So, for example, a couple of the characters, you roll for affliction. Theirs was they were missing certain body parts, and you roll for that.
Wait, there's more afflictions besides.
Oh yeah,
Eh?
oh yeah, you're missing body parts. Let's see, I'm trying to think of what some of the other ones were. I'm drawing a blank right now, but yeah. Yeah, you have all kinds of issues. And one of the things we were all saying last night at the end of session 0 was that it was definitely the most interesting and disgusting character creation session any of us had ever participated in.
Sounds fun. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is. If you like it dark, I was watching one YouTuber when I was trying to figure out what this was all about, and he essentially said, "You remember the satanic panic of the '80s when?"
Oh, boy, do I!
Yeah, when everybody was talking about how D&D was going to get you into a cult.
When I was playing,
worshiping Satan and all of that. Well, Mörk Borg is that game.
Well, you know what, and I say this a lot because back in the '80s, that's when I was playing it. There were off-brand games. I don't know who the friend of mine that was always the dungeon master. I guess is what you call him.
Yeah.
He managed to get these off-brand games, and I always had more fun with those. And I don't know if my friends did or not. I think my friends always preferred the regular, but I didn't want elves and wizards, and I wanted anything but that.
Other creatures.
Other creatures, or I know, like we played a gangster one and a or a space travel, and but like this strikes me as much more fun than the goriness.
Yeah, right. Well, here I'll show you. Here's a picture I took last night of our play scene at Benito's, and so Benito's, the lights are turned down. He's got all these candles set up in front of his DM screen, essentially, right? And I said the only thing missing was he's got a big flat screen monitor in the middle of his table. Said the only thing missing was he should have had a giant pentagram in the middle of the table, on screen or something. But yeah, it was a fun game. Let me see.
So what are some of the are there any big key differences then between this game and D&D? Like how does it, you guys jumped into any real role playing with it yet, or is it just character creation so far?
Yeah, we haven't jumped into any role playing yet. It was all just character creation last night.
Mm-hmm.
And but it is different in that the character creation, you only have 4 values that you keep track of.
Okay.
Persistence, agility, strength, and toughness. And what you do is you roll for it, and you roll your 3d6. Well, for 2 of them, you roll 3d6s, and then you figure out what your modifier is. So let's say you roll 3d6s, you get an 18. Well, then Benito looks at his chart, and that 18 translates to a +3. Okay. So you put your +3 in the agility box. And then you do that for one of the other ones. And then for toughness, I can't remember, toughness and one of the other ones, maybe persistence, you roll a d20. But it's a similar thing based on what you roll there. He looks at a chart and figures out what your modifier is.
So do you do like health or MP or anything of that nature?
That's figured into your toughness. You do have hit points, right?
Okay.
And so you roll a D6 for your hit points. And then based on the character you chose, you get to add a point or 2 or subtract a point or 2 from that. So, yeah. So I and one of the other players, we rolled a 3 for our toughness, but both of our characters had to subtract 2. So we have 1 hit point.
You weren't kidding. You're gonna die. Have a backup.
All right, pretty much.
Okay.
Now, one of the other characters has 0. I think Jenna has like 2 or 3 hit points. And then the guy that's the Lord of the Flies, that has all the flies inside of him, he actually got 5.
Wow.
Rolled a D6, ended up with 5, and he had no modifier. So
He's your tank. There you go.
yeah, right. So, but then you also roll. Let's see, you roll 3d6s, and then you get to add something to that as well. And then whatever that number is, you times it by 10, and that's the number of silver pieces you start out the game with.
Interesting.
So yeah, so I rolled 3 6s for my goal, for my silver.
Of course
Plus
you
I
did,
got,
Bill. That's a
I
Bill
know
roll.
that's what Jenna was saying. She goes, "This is his luck. This is his luck." Except, my character's got a 1 for hit points. So I don't know how lucky I am. But anyway, so I ended up with because I got to add 2 to that, so I had 20. So I ended up with 220 silver pieces, and everybody else is down around 30 to 40. But I think that's going to help me, because with my hit point being at 1, I have enough money to buy a suit of solid steel armor, which is 200 silver pieces. So that will hopefully help me hang around for a while so that I can get some torturing done.
But you go into the game knowing you're going to die anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what you pick. When you start the game, you are only so many days away from the final apocalypse. So, you're just trying to survive until the very end, the end of days. Now, this is a bleak, horrifying, horrible, mutilated kind of a hellscape that you're in, right? And so you might think, well, fuck it, this is so disgusting, I'm just going to end my own life, right? But it doesn't work that way in Mörk Borg.
No.
If you end your own life, that's the only sacrilege in the game. And if you do that, you come back as a more horrible incarnation of yourself than you were before. So
how can there be one?
Oh, believe me, Mörk Borg finds a way. So the only way that you can get a peaceful out of the game is to be killed by something.
Or make it to the apocalypse.
And
you're going to die anyways.
Yeah. It has to be, I wouldn't say, our idea of a natural death, but it has to be a death that you don't cause to yourself.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a tough game.
It is. And so you're sitting there in a very dark place. It's, room that's lit by these candles mostly. And you're listening to apocalyptic music playing as you're in this apocalyptic world. And it's actually quite hilarious. So I told everybody that so next time we get together, we're all in our group and we're going to start, going around. And I said, well, when we go to these cities, we just have to watch out for our guy that's the Lord of the Flies. We don't want to cause a problem where the locals have to call out the police and he gets attacked by a SWAT team.
Oh, God.
Well, that all sounds actually pretty awesome, and a different change of pace from the typical D&D where
it sure is.
Your elves, your orcs and humans and wizards.
Yeah, there are in this game no likable characters.
Well, I think you like them all.
Everybody, I mean, you'll come to like them because they're so awesomely horrible. But and we haven't even gotten to the monsters yet.
Yeah, we'll have to do a follow-up in another episode, if not just a tidbit. Doesn't have to be dedicated to it, but
right.
Sure, we'll have follow-up with the other stuff going on with D&D. So we'll have to throw that in. I'm curious to hear how that game unfolds, what you like about the differences and things like that. 'Cause it sounds dark, but it does sound fun. Like it's
It is fun. We had a blast last night just creating the characters because you get this character, like in my case, the lustful inquisitor, and then you're rolling for different traits and stuff that helps you flesh out your backstory. They give you little tidbits, so you have to roll for all that stuff. And It was so hilarious because you would roll and then Benito would look it up in the chart and then read it. And it'd be like, oh my God, that is so perfect for that character. I could see that, kind of a thing. So it was quite fun. So I'm looking forward to our first actual gameplay, see who survives. But we did also, each of us, roll for a second character last night. We didn't have time to complete all the roles for the character, the backstory, all that kind of stuff. We have to do that on our own between now and the next game. So that way, if we get killed in the first game, which is likely, we have another character to jump in with. So
nice.
So you don't want to get too attached to your character. And really, as horrible as they are, I don't know how you could get attached to your character.
So you said something about a backstory. Do you make an elaborate backstory then if your player's going to die right away?
Yeah, well, how elaborate it gets is up to you. But Benito said, create a backstory. We want to hear the backstories. Jenna kind of jumped the gun and already created a backstory. And Benito's like, yeah, no, that's not going to work. Kind of a thing, and Jenna's like, well, no, because I guess Jenna did some research and there's a bad character in Mörk Borg. And so her backstory referenced that bad character. And Benito's like, well, you don't know about that guy yet. So, how could he be in your backstory? And but they did work it out. She explained to him how that fit into the backstory, and Benito's like, oh yeah, okay, well that makes sense. So so it's pretty hilarious, pretty fun, and it's gonna be an interesting gameplay, I think, with all the hideousness. Jenna, she's a bear and she has like a little kid's wagon that she pulls behind her. That was one of her, when she rolled for her inventory, that was what she got. Like a little one of those radio flyer wagons is what I envisioned in my mind.
Craziness.
Yeah. So
are there a lot of games out there that are available that are based on sort of loosely D&D and then
I think there's a lot of role-playing type games out there with different game mechanics, and it'll be interesting to see how this one plays because with fewer numbers to worry about, I think
simpler.
I think it's a faster combat probably. So
maybe what we should do is, and this doesn't have to happen soon because it's going to take some time to kind of dig into it, but we should have a special episode where we cover the different types of games out there. OGL, based off of WTC or not. Yeah. We should kind of cover some of the big ones out there. Pathfire, Seth mentioned in another episode, Dresden, files-based ones. We've got Mörk Borg. So we should jump into some of those, I think.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. I think we should definitely plan to do that. So, all right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions about Mörk Borg, or if you've played it and you have a character type that you like,
Did you show us the character, Seth? I might have missed it.
No, I don't think. Did you show the classes real quick? Wasn't there?
I just wanted to see.
He did. He went through the pages earlier, which covered.
Yeah, those are your character types.
I just like the Seth character, and since Seth isn't here, that seemed appropriate.
Trying to see if I.
You don't have to show it now.
Well. Anyway, we'll show it. Seth will be playing in a future game. He was going to play last night, but he's kind of under the weather, so he wasn't able to make it. But Benito's already planning to fire up a second game. So
sounds like fun.
Yeah. So we'll keep everybody posted on how it goes. Anyway, thanks for watching. Again, post your comments below. Let us know if you've played and if you have a character you like. And we will catch you all on the next round. Take care. Have a good one.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Galactic Driftwood Podcast. For more information and past episodes, please visit our website at galacticdriftwood.space or subscribe to us on YouTube. And now, please deactivate your cranial downlinks, collect your towels, and be sure to watch your step as you exit our gravity well.